Picture this. You're chilling in your cozy Arabian home, sipping some fermented date wine, thinking about what excuse to use for skipping work tomorrow, then suddenly, bam! Your entire kingdom is at war, your neighbor's house is on fire, and your pet goat is having a panic attack. Welcome to ancient Arabia, where political rivalries don't just ruin friendships, they send entire civilizations packing. Now, imagine being a regular citizen stuck between the Sabaean kingdom and the rising Himyarite kingdom, two power-hungry Arabian states that don't know how to share the sandbox. These guys have been beefing for so long that even their camels have started taking sides. And guess who's caught in the middle? That's right, you and every other poor soul who just wants to herd goats in peace. What happens when you're forced to flee, not knowing if you'll ever see your homeland again? And how do you survive in the unforgiving Arabian desert while dodging raiders, warlords, and worst of all, merchants trying to sell you overpriced incense? Buckle up, because this is the story of the Arabian refugees who tried to outrun history. Let's rewind. Arabia, around the 1st century BCE, is a land of powerful trade routes, ambitious kings, and a lot of people trying to stab each other for territory. At the center of this mess is the Sabaean kingdom, the OG big boss of South Arabia. They've been in charge for centuries, controlling the lucrative incense trade because apparently everyone in the ancient world had a thing for burning nice-smelling stuff. But here comes the Himyarite kingdom, a scrappy new player that's not interested in being a side character. These guys wanted all trade routes, territory, and maybe even the Sabaeans' secret hummus recipe. And just like that, war breaks out. For regular people like you, this is very bad news. One moment, you're selling dates at the market. The next, you're trying to convince your donkey to run faster, while arrows fly over your head. Entire villages are being burned to the ground, and families are packing whatever they can carry and heading into the unknown. And here's the thing about Arabian refugees, this isn't their first rodeo. If you lived in ancient Arabia, you probably already had an escape plan, because let's be real, kingdoms rise and fall faster than your uncle loses money at the camel races. The desert? Yeah, it's brutal, but staying behind in a war zone, that's a one-way ticket to the afterlife. So where do you go? Well, you have options. None of them great. But hey, you're still breathing. 1. North to the Nabateans, a thriving kingdom with rock-cut cities and fancy water systems. Downside? They don't like squatters, so you might have to pretend you're a long-lost prince to get in. 2. East to the Persian Gulf. Plenty of trade opportunities, but you'll need to convince the locals you're not here to take over their spice business. 3. West to Africa. A dangerous sea crossing, but hey, the Aksumite kingdom in Ethiopia is rich and powerful. Plus, they have great coffee. 4. Stay and hope for the best. Spoiler alert, this is a terrible idea. As you and your fellow refugees set out, you quickly realize something. The desert is not your friend. The sun wants to cook you. Water is a luxury. And if you hear someone say, "Don't worry, I know a shortcut," you might as well write your will. The journey is grueling. You're walking for miles, and your feet feel like they belong to someone else. The camels are staring at you with judgment, as if saying, "Wow, you guys really didn't plan this, huh?" Then there's the food situation. You've got dates, dried meat, and a whole lot of hope. Water. That's trickier. You have to find oases, and if you're really unlucky, you'll run into some local warlord who thinks he owns the water. And let's not forget about the desert raiders. These guys are basically ancient world pirates, except instead of ships, they have camels, and instead of eye patches, they have an intense need to steal everything you own. At night, you huddle around a fire, trading stories and trying to ignore the eerie howls of distant hyenas. Some people talk about the good old days when Sabaean markets were full of spices. Merchants yelled about special deals, and life didn't involve running for your life every 5 minutes. But there's no going back now. The old world is crumbling, and you need to find a new home. Many of these refugees do find new lands, some in Persia, some in Africa, and others in what would become modern-day Yemen, Oman, and beyond. And here's the kicker: they don't just survive, they thrive. They bring their knowledge of trade, agriculture, and engineering with them, influencing the societies they settle in. Some of these displaced people end up laying the groundwork for future civilizations. Their descendants become merchants, scholars, and even rulers. And ironically, while the war between Saba and Himyar rages on, the refugees who fled end up shaping history in ways their former kings never could. The Sabaean kingdom eventually falls. Himyar, it rises, but it too won't last forever. But the people, they live on, adapting, evolving, and proving that no matter how many times history tries to wipe them out, they'll always find a way to keep moving forward. So, what's the lesson here? Simple history is one long cycle of people running for their lives and starting over somewhere else. It happened then, and guess what? It's still happening today. If you like this story and want more wild tales from history, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because, trust me, history has way more chaotic moments that you don't want to miss. And before you go, ask yourself this: if you had to flee an ancient war, where would you run? Let us know in the comments, just in case we ever need an escape plan.